Let's record the show. Everybody gotta record the show. I'm gonna record this podcast show. Ba. Here we are, singing a song, recorded all day long. Here we go, record the show. It's gonna be number one. Dun 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 dun. Okay, let's go. Theme song in 3, 2. And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Episode 210, the Constitutionals Podcast, back from a hiatus. After we previously already had a hiatus. Listen, if there's not going to be any news, I'm not going to force myself to sit down and record this stupid show. For the little amount of money it makes. And by little, I mean none. It makes none money. And by none money, I mean it only makes enough money. It only makes money from a convent. Now, I don't know if you can hear this. It is currently about to storm pretty heavily outside. And it's very scary. And yeah, that's about it. It's a very scary time. We're getting thunders. We're getting notifications from different various news organizations. 210. Not that much stuff to talk about. Last week, I saw not recording the podcast, I saw F9. I've really enjoyed my time with it. You could tell that movie theaters are going to thrive because people were talking through, and by people I mean one set of some ladies were talking throughout the entire film. I want to say, they would not shut up, and I was in one of the first 3 rows away from the group of people that sit in the middle. So I went to AMC. People were sitting clustered in the middle, even though we're still in the middle of a pandemic. I got there. And I already previously bought my ticket, and I sat 3rd row to the left, on the edge because I'd like an edge seat, just in case something goes down, and and I like to sit up. I don't care about sitting in the middle, having the best seat. You know, it was a Dolby Cinema one. I spent the $16 on the ticket. Had the best screen, so it didn't matter any angle, just like that new TV I got. Any angle, doesn't matter. And it was still fun. I had a good, enjoyable time. The Fast and Furious series 5 on is great. Even the ones that, and you know, one of the complaints I saw was that people go, oh, it's unbelievable. You can't believe the action that happens in it. Yeah, there's no you can't believe the action that happens in the Disney Marvel's Black Widow either. And one of them has a cast full of brown people, while the other does not have any brown people at all. I stand by that, but still, Disney, hire me, baby. I'll take anything at this point. It just got darker outside, and I do believe it's raining. I don't know if you can hear on the microphones, but you'll notice that my lighting did get a little bit darker, so I have to adjust the lamps, the LED lamps, the LED lights. But whatever, doesn't matter. His camera's not that good anyway. My laptop is dying. Oh my gosh! Every time I pick this thing up, a new piece has fallen off. Like don't buy laptops. Excuse me, I just hit the mic arm. Don't buy laptops that have a lot of, like I think on the Microsoft Surface. This is a Yoga 900 from like 2015, but I think the Microsoft Surface Books, which is the laptop version of the Surface laptop, 2-in-1, I guess. They have fabric on their keyboards for their palm rests and all that stuff, and like just fabric around the keyboards. And then for this one, this was like the second time Lenovo did the flipping hinge laptop, and so it has a watch band style hinge where if you look at, imagine like a Rolex or something, I don't know, just a watch that has a metal band, then it has it has a hinge like that, and it makes it look very sleek. It makes it look very fancy, as fancy as that price tag was. But the big problem is that they kind of skimped out everywhere else. So the camera's not that good. Again, for 2015, the screen bezel is huge, and my biggest problem is that pieces are falling off. So for the watch band hinge, they have tiny little, not bolts, but like end caps, and they have 4 of them. And over the past couple of years, they've just been falling off. And then there's the plastic for where the USB ports are, and the USB-C port have just, I noticed yesterday one just broke off completely. Like not the port itself, but like the border on the side. So this is an aging beast. I don't understand how people use the same piece of technology for years, like the same phone. Like, good Lord. That's why I had to get this Galaxy. And then what else did I do today? Oh, today I just finished watching the new season of Big Brother, season premiere. Now, last year, I distinctly said, after, the committee, whatever they call themselves, the 6 white people started kicking out the brown people one by one, I said I was never going to watch this show again. But then I saw the cast for this new group of people, and CBS has distinctly said multiple times on multiple occasions, so I have to take the word for it, that they're going to start doing, gender and racial casting equality, essentially. And what that amounts to in this new season of Big Brother, and it can only get better. It can only get better. I hope so. Is that there are multiple people of color, multiple people who identify in the LGBTQ world, someone with autism. Let's see. I texted a friend, and I'll read the text out to you. Update on Big Brother contestant diversity. This is out of nowhere. Asian. Okay, I thought one of the okay, Asian guy, gay black guy, Mexican black guy, half Mexican, half black, first generation Cameroon American woman, Indian South African child prodigy, autistic woman, bisexual woman, 40-year-old single black mom doctor with great braids, tons of literally a lot of the women. If you look at all the women, there's going to be 2 that you can go, okay, they don't fit under this category. But there's literal genius women. Like every single woman on here, with the exception of 2, are scientists or engineers. But there's still 4 white dudes and 2 blondies, those 2 women, who all fit the bill of probable racist. And based on... They had to choose teams. They got to choose teams. You had to win a competition and then choose teams. Teams of 4. So the person who won, they had 4 competitions. One person from each competition got to choose people on their team, and then based on a couple of their decisions, I knew right then I can look at some of these people's their profile bio, whatever they did, the pre-roll before all of the action they did, the interviews, and then I can look at their choices, and I just know that these people aren't gonna be good people in the end. And I know that's a little judgmental of me, but come on, don't say like you've worked hard your entire life and you're a white woman like that. You're gonna turn out fine. It's the Cameroon and the Indian and the the other ones that are going to struggle more than you. But whatever. It's not a competition. Not a competition. Anyway, I look forward to this season of Big Brother. It's only my 2nd season. I have no plans to go back and watch the other ones. Don't suggest it because people have, and I'm not going to do that. And this is going to be fun. Hopefully, we'll see. Just knock out the white guys. Oh God. Except there's one white guy who I think is cool. He lives in Hawaii. He says he's from Hawaii. I don't think he is. I don't think he's Hawaiian. But yeah. And everybody's talking about showmances. We don't need showmances. Just do the show. Just do Big Brother. God. like when you're on like if I'm watching, which I have done multiple times over the past year and a half, if I'm watching a season of Survivor and the first thing you say is I might be looking for love, I don't no, you're immediately on my hit list. I'm looking for love. I don't care, guys. We're here to compete. We're here to win, outwit, outlast, outplay. I think that's what Survivor's thing is. All right, we're 9 minutes, 40 seconds in. We can continue with this episode. First things first, Universal is setting up some new deals for streaming. So, as we've talked about over the past year with this pandemic, is that there has to be an option. I don't think I've ever voiced this out loud. God, it got dark quick. There has to be an option outside of traditional theatrical releases so that everyone wins. So HBO Max, the Warner Brothers, independently, and the Warner Sister Dot, has said, excuse me, I'm sorry, that was a stupid joke. There's two different jokes I wanted to get in there, and I fit them both in to my regrets. Oh, that's a good title for the episode. To my regrets. Okay, so Warner Brothers released movies day and date for the next year, from December of last year until December of this year, day and date with theaters, so that they can earn some of this capital back. Universal early on put a couple of their movies, and I think it just amounted to Trolls World Tour, which again I think is a fantastic movie, way better than the first. Anyway, I've yet to see Boss Baby, and I am willing to pay the $5 to Peacock just to watch it, and also Knockout Girls 5.0, and that's it. Nothing else. And Rutherford Falls, and that's it. Nothing else. And maybe The Godfather, because now that's on there and not on Paramount Plus. I take way too long to watch things. Anyway, so Universal puts some movies on streaming. A lot of other studios are forced. I think Paramount, was forced to sell The Lovebirds to Netflix. Oh my God, yeah, it's coming down. And also my ears on. So you either sell it, you either release it, or you hold it. And if it's a tentpole, they hold it. The new James Bond, F9, Quiet Place 2, Quiet Place Part 2, rather. You save those movies because they're the ones that are going to allow you to make the smaller ones, the ones that aren't programmed to make billions of dollars. So Universal is I mean, they have the capital to, but kind of risking it by saying not early last year. Was it early last year? Was that early last year? At some point last year, they said that they're looking. Yeah, it was early last year, early in the pandemic. At some point, they said that they were looking to skip theatrical or release movies like within 90-day time frame, or no, excuse me, release movies within like a couple of weeks time frame. And then AMC said, this sucks, you guys are screwing us over. And then Universal said, okay, well, how about 90 days? And then the theaters said, fine. But now there's new streaming deals that they're setting up. This comes from Variety, written by Brent Lang. Universal moves from a film licensing deal from HBO to Peacock, bolstering streaming service. So what usually happens is that a movie gets released to theaters, and then after it's in theaters, about 6 months later, it goes to HBO, the premium channel. And then like maybe 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year after that, then a network like FX, Cartoon Network, USA, TNT, they can all try to buy the rights to air that movie. So Universal is going to move its Pay One window, if that's what it's called, for films from HBO to Peacock. Universal had that pact with HBO since 2005. Now Peacock will have access to Universal's popular franchises, including Jurassic World and Fast and Furious from 2000, the fourth one, and Tokyo Drift are already on Peacock right now, and two Fast and Furious, I believe, as well as Despicable Me movies and spinoffs. New films will appear on the streaming service within 4 months of their theatrical debut. So you can see Jurassic World in theaters, in May, or wait until September and it'll hit Peacock. If you are a paying subscriber, I can only imagine. This new deal is going to start in 2022, but it's structured differently than the past packs governing the traditional 18-month pay one window. I was right. Look at me. I said 6 months to a year. Universal's slate will go to Peacock as the pay one partner for the initial 4 months of that period, as well as the final 4 months of that window. So then there's going to be a middle 10 months where it could basically go to anywhere else. It can go to Netflix, it can go to HBO Max, it can go to Disney Plus, wherever. Roughly 2 streamers or cable networks will have the rights to air Universal films during that period. Under the past agreement with HBO, Universal was able to license certain Illumination titles to Netflix, which is why Despicable Me and Secret Life of Pets films routinely turned up on the subscription service. Now, I do think this is a solid move for them, especially coming up in the next segment of this story, is that they have another pact going on, which we'll get to right now. This also comes from Variety, written by Angelique Jackson. Amazon Prime Video and IMDb TV signed multi-year licensing deal with Universal. And I think from this point forward, we're going to see a lot of if Prime Video makes a move, then IMDb TV is going to be alongside them. Amazon's Prime Video and IMDb TV have inked a multi-year licensing deal with Universal Filmed Entertainment Group, bringing blockbusters like Jurassic World, Dominion, and F9 to the company's streaming platforms. Under the new agreement, that sounds familiar, right? Prime Video will have an exclusive pay one window for Universal's slate of live-action films in the U.S. that's starting in 2022. It will also receive rights to package Universal's library movies. Now, they made this deal the same week, within a couple of days of each other. So this means, hold on, for initial 4 months of the post-theatrical period, as well as 4 months for both Peacock and So to me, this looks like they are they're hedging their bets and splitting things up, because if you put them on that first 4 month period is going to go to Peacock, and then that next 10-month period, oh my gosh, that is some strong lightning, baby, or thunder. Thunder is for light and light is for thunder. Is that the title? So it seems to me that this is the middle part. This is the good middle part. So they've already gotten their second middle part, or the first middle part rather. So that means during that 10-month period, what this sounds like to me is Amazon is going to be one of the companies that Fast and Furious will go to, or Jurassic World will go to. Notably, IMDb TV is the first AVOD service to secure network window rights from a major studio with Universal's 2020 to 2021 movies, including F9, Sing 2, Old, and more. Set to live exclusively on Amazon's premium free streaming service. So AVOD is ad supported video on demand. IMDb, Tubi, Pluto, and Crackle are some of the top ones. I just recently deleted Google Chromecast with Google TV, which I'll just now call Google TV, does not have a lot of memory on board. It has 4 gigabytes of memory. And who knows how much RAM. Probably 2 gigs of RAM. And it runs a little bit sluggishly, I have to admit. But that memory fills up quickly because apps are ever updating. And so I've had all the major apps downloaded, streaming video apps and some music apps downloaded to both of the. I have a Google TV connected to the main TV and the Google TV connected to the bedroom TV, and on both of them I've had to delete a handful of apps because it's just not, there's not enough. And so anyway, there's not enough room. So anyway, one of the first things to go was Crackle, because Crackle sucks butt, and I think Sony should stop. They should just stop that service. Crackle is is probably the besides Hulu, was the first like free streaming video thing, and now it stinks. So get rid of it, Sony. For the Prime Video side of the deal, Universal's blockbuster titles like Jurassic World Dominion, the 355, and Ambulance will debut on Peacock before heading to Prime Video 4 months later. Like I said, I was correct. So all they have to do is find anyone who sees value in having Universal's movies on their streaming service. And let me look at my phone, because I have all of the services on here. If I mean, it's not going to go Disney Plus. They go to Paramount Plus. They could team up with Paramount Plus for that 10-month window. HBO, Showtime, Stars, and Prime. So those are the five ones, unless there's like another major one I'm missing. But those are the 5 ones that they could team up with. Now, interestingly enough, Viacom CBS has also said that even though they have Paramount Plus, they're willing to license out their shows and movies to other platforms. So that's why you saw, I know Evil is on Netflix, but that's why you saw shows like Evil, and I think Clarice are on Netflix right now. And Evil, I think, is still in like one of the most viewed shows on there as of late on Netflix. You know how they do their analytics, which is they don't tell anybody about them. So I do believe that this is it's a benefit. If you lease your stuff out to Netflix, I mean, it's beneficial to you, because someone's going to go, okay, when does Evil Season 2 come out? Evil Season 2 started a couple weeks ago. All right, where is it? It's on Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus, $5. Let me pay the $5. I'll binge the whole season in a day or so. And then, but now I also have access to Paramount Plus, which also has live CBS and has Big Brother, and has the Big Brother live feeds, and then it's got Survivor and the new Rugrats, and so now I have all access to all this stuff for the month that I paid for. So you're still going to get money. The deal builds on a recent announcement that brought Peacock to Fire TV customers, and furthers a partnership between Amazon and NBC Universal. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. That happened a couple weeks ago. And also, let's stop launching. First of all, let's stop launching streaming services. But second, let's stop launching streaming services on certain platforms and then wanting more money from another platform. I hate that. Hey, this first story, and that was just a teaser. This next story comes from Billboard, written by Marissa R. Ross, Kane Brown, Mickey Guyton, and the Brothers Osborne, on country's more inclusive future. Oh no, Werner Herzog is here. Yes, it's me, Werner Herzog. I lost it. So this is a good feature piece Ms. Ross wrote, talking to these three country acts who have all made a place for themselves in country music without having the acceptance that every other genres would bring to the people they are. So the Brothers Osborne, TJ Osborne, came out this year, and it's been a huge impact on his life, because he was the brunette white guy who sings country music, kind of didn't fit in with the mold. Same thing for Mickey Guyton, who's a black woman, obviously. There's 2 things that don't work inside country. And the third, Kane Brown, who is a black man. I was going to say light skin. I didn't want to quantify it like that, though. And so I think this is just a very nice piece that really, I think it was like a Zoom conversation. So they all had a chance to talk about what their places are like, and how hard it's been for them. Like Mickey, she came to Nashville, I think, at 28, and now she's 38, and it's tough to find a foothold, because she's a black woman, and T.J. Osborne mentions, or one of the Osbornes mentions, that that she has to, like, women typically have to sing about heartbreak and being in love and you know, getting hurt and stuff like that. And I just think this is a very nice piece that I found today. Full disclosure, I found it today. We're coming off a holiday. It took it took a while to find something decent to talk about. There's also a very nice, I think it was CBS Sunday Morning profile that Anthony, one of the Anthonys from, there's two Anthonys that host CBS This Morning, but on CBS Sunday Morning, which is the news magazine show, Anthony DeCopo and Gail King and Tony DeCopo, God, I don't know his name. CBS This Morning. It's tough to know people. There's so many people out there. It's tough to know their names. Anthony Mason. Anthony Mason did a profile piece for CBS Sunday Morning talking to the Osbornes. And you get to know TJ and John. Anyway, check out this piece. It's just an interview. But they all talk about what they're going to do after the pandemic and going on tours and playing shows. And Mickey Guyton in particular has, you know, her song rather, Black Like Me, that came out after Breonna Taylor and George Floyd were killed. That really put her kind of in the spotlight. And you know, anyway, read the interview, really good. And his final thing, again found today, comes from Ted Johnson over at Deadline. Joe Biden signs executive order calling for greater antitrust scrutiny, just as tech and media giants seek merger greenlight. Joe Biden signed a wide-ranging executive order signaling that his administration will take an aggressive stance toward antitrust enforcement, with calling on federal agencies to take more than 70 actions to counter the wave of consolidation across the economy. So this plays into what's been happening in the entertainment industry, where a company like I just talked about, BuzzFeed, going public and doing a merger with Complex, and after having bought HuffPost from Verizon, and going public with the SPAC in the coming weeks or months, and then Amazon bought MGM, Disney bought Fox. You know, I'm sure Apple's going to make a giant move at some point. The rumor. This is not a joke, but Reese Witherspoon might be looking to sell Hello Sunshine, a production company, and one of the headlines was Apple is looking to probably buy it because they Hello Sunshine, you know, produces the morning show. I think Reese is white Oprah, and she's really trying to get the billions up in there. The billions, good for her though. I can't hate her, even though she kind of puts herself in the white savior roles for her shows and movies. The order not only calls for stricter antitrust enforcement, but even a review of mergers that already have gotten the government green light. Very smart. I think this is a good move. We don't need to. I mean, again, I'm going to keep hammering this home. And also Warner Brothers and Discovery. When Disney bought Fox and people were so excited, the X-Men, Spider-Man, everybody's going to be hanging out with everybody, doing stuff. I think it has just diluted and watered down a lot of the industry. And it just kind of makes everything samey. And that's not to say that, you know, what Disney does is bad. I just watched Monsters at Work, and it's, while not bad, it's not good. but it's not a good show. It looks like DreamWorks worked really hard to make that show. That's what Monsters at Work looks like. That's what it looks like, and that's what the jokes sound like, because it is not good. What was I saying? But but Disney does have hits. Disney does make hits. But the thing is that when you're taking out the competition where you're buying all that stuff, like it's even though I'm an Android guy, it's Google, and Apple, and Amazon buying up other companies that do the same things that they do. It's Google buying Waze, even though you have Google Maps, and so now you have two of the competing map services, even though they offer different things, but it's still the same thing. Google trying to be the only search engine. Apple not allowing other app stores on their platform, whereas Google and Amazon, you can have multiple app stores, app stores. So it's a tricky thing, but I think in the end you can't side with the business on this. It's if everything is one thing, then nothing matters. It's pretty good quote, if I do say so myself. It keeps getting darker, and so that means I keep getting darker. Should I move closer to the camera? So now we're talking about things like Amazon MGM. And Johnson writes, I had to look back up at the name. But the relative size of the studio, MGM, especially compared to Hollywood's major studios, has raised doubts among a number of antitrust experts that the government could win a court challenge should it sue to block the deal. Amazon has pointed to other recent, far larger mergers, yes, like Walt Disney's combination with Fox, that the government greenlit, that got the government green light with relatively little turbulence. Yeah, I remember when what was it when AT&T was buying Warner. Trump said something, but he didn't exactly act on anything, and I don't think anyone batted an eye about. Again, I don't think anyone in a high enough position batted an eye about Disney and Fox. There's going to be a point. Dude, what I mean, again. This was a topic too. When AT&T had to be broken up into singular wireless, and Bell South, or Bell, excuse me, Bell South was down here. I think that's going to have to happen again. But then at some point, there's just going to be a point where, like if Disney and Fox break up in 10 years, there's going to be some point where Disney's going to, or if they're forced to break up, or 20th, it'll be 20th century, excuse me, not Fox. But if Disney and 20th break up in 10 years because of government intervention, then at some point, or they're spun off into its own company, which is what AT&T did with Warner. And so now that's how they're, yeah, I'm talking. That's how they're dealing with it. Wouldn't they threw me off my friggin' boat? I'm off my boat. What? Off my boat. That's my sequel to the Fresh Off the Boat show that was canceled on ABC, and now they don't have any shows with Asian Americans or Asians in there. Listen, Disney, hire me. Come on, man. I know I took a lot of shots at you, but that's it just means I love you. There was this week too on The Simpsons on Disney Plus released a short about Loki coming to Springfield, and I love The Simpsons to death. I'll friggin' defend the last 20 to 15 years of the show, 15 to 20 years of the show. I'll watch it. I'll watch it every friggin' day. That 4 minutes, and it's not even 4 minutes. It was like 2.5 minutes of animation and 2.5 minutes of credits. That 4 minutes was hands down the worst 4 minutes of The Simpsons that has ever aired, and they should never do something like that again. And I don't care if Disney offers them all the money in the world. That it was a gross use of company synergy. And they can do shorts. They can release stuff on social. And even then, that's the stuff they did something on social about Trump. I think like 2 or 3 times over the past couple of years, and it's just never been good. And so they need to avoid stuff like that. And they also need to avoid like stuff that's not contemporary, that's of the moment. So, and then they also just need to avoid this synergy thing. You don't need to do it. Al Jean, who else works there? Matt Selman. I'm thinking of people from like 20 years ago. I'm like Groening probably doesn't even go in there anymore. He probably just signs off on story ideas. Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was not good. And now I know how Star Wars fans feel about The Last Awakens, the last Force Awakens, wherever the hell that thing's called. Like, because apparently people didn't like it, I guess. I don't know. I can't even get the title right. But that was just such a bad, it was bad. It was just bad. Speaking of Tom Hiddleston, I'm not going to watch Loki. But speaking of Tom Hiddleston, I have a feeling that he's going to host SNL, the season opener. I think it should be Conan. I've been watching the Story of Late Night documentary on CNN, and it's well done. It's kind of rushed. They're kind of just they only give themselves 6 episodes, and they're kind of just dancing over a lot of stuff. They didn't even speak to Arsenio, and I mean obviously they asked him, but he has like there's like an episode that's about him and Carson and Joan Rivers. Like I think it's like episode 2 or 3, or it might be 3, and he's talked about, but he's not talked to. Definitely noticeable. But anyway, Conan ended a couple weeks ago, and he's everybody knows he worked on SNL for a little bit, and so I think that if I was NBC, if I was Lorne Michaels, and if I was thinking about, we're halfway through the summer and the season starts in September or October, I think it would be the first person I would get is Conan. I don't care about ratings. I don't, because it's the season, it's season opener. You're gonna have good ratings anyway. But if they get Conan to host, oh my God, that would be so beautiful. Such a great homage to his work there years and years and years ago, 20, 30 years ago at this point. Yeah, they should get Conan, but I think it's going to be Tom Hiddleston, barring any major something happening at the Olympics, and like an American person competing at the Olympics has a decent enough personality, and they go, okay, we'll get this person to host. Also, I've been watching on Peacock a lot of old SNL, because my first episode was Betty White, so I've been watching basically everything before that, and not everything. I skip around. It's not as good as you remember. If you grew up with seasons 20 through 28, it's not as good as you remember. But anyway, or seasons, the first like 15 seasons are bad. But I think you can see an evolution of comedy where the jokes for the first 15 seasons are very slow and they're not really upfront, and now they're kind of rapid fire, quick pace and all that stuff. So let's get back to this executive order. Getting far less attention on Capitol Hill, Johnson writes, is Discovery's proposed merger with Warner Media, in part because it unwinds a transaction that was challenged unsuccessfully by the Justice Department, the AT&T combination with Time Warner. Biden has yet to name a new chief for the Justice Department's antitrust division, which will give an indication of how major mergers will be reviewed. Biden also singled out cable and telecom companies as targets of some of his proposals, as he noted that 65 million Americans are in the areas with only one high-speed internet service provider, and that's a very important thing. Then in Middle America, I live in Atlanta. I live in a city that offers Google Fiber, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, all this stuff, and it's important that we talk about liberties and freedom, and I don't know why just Bush is here, but it's important. It's imperative that we start getting internet access to people who don't have immediate internet access, and also or they have only one option. And then also on top of that, it's the people who who don't have devices for that internet access. Like during the pandemic, people who I read tons of stories about New York families who come from underprivileged backgrounds, and they in the schools had to give them, iPads or laptops, what have you, during this pandemic, and they didn't have internet at home, and they had to go to public libraries or the free city Wi-Fi that's in the parks or something like that. And that's just a hassle, and that just doesn't work for everybody. And it doesn't work for anybody. Not everybody. It doesn't work for anybody. And that's one thing that I agree with Elon Musk on. Other than that, I don't like him at all. But he has Asperger's, and we have to be nice to him now. That's one thing I do agree with him on, though, is that he wants that Starlink thing. He wants to give free internet to people, the satellite internet from space, and even that's not that good. I've been reading stuff on that. So let's get these bands together. Let's get these bands together. Hey, listen, that was an episode of the Constitutionals. 210, if I remember the number correctly. If you like what you heard here, head to the website. Hold on. Breaking news. Joker rolls in the Wimbledon semis. Yeah, bro. I like Djokovic. If you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where there are so many different... Sorry, I'm testing out the audio for the thing. Where there are, interviews with your favorite comedians, Shelby Wolstein, Chris Gethard, Maria Bamford, Jimmy Pardo, Ron Funches, Craig Ferguson, Larry the Cable Guy, Jen Kirkman, Matt Brogger, Jermaine Fowler, just naming all the famous ones. Except for one of them, whose name I said first was that I should... But I count them among the same group. That's gotta mean. If you want to see a video version of the show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, where you can see me sitting like the Phantom of the Opera. Half my face is black and half my face is white. This is very good. You can see a happy birthday balloon from approximately 2 weeks ago now. 2 weeks tomorrow. Still sitting here. Lights warm on my face. See me react to the thunder and lightning outside. Very, very frightening. Galileo. Also on youtube.com/cpluscomedy is our premiere show News Time, which is a daily show ripoff. I take one story and I dissect it. This week was BuzzFeed's SPAC. They're going to go public with a SPAC merger with a blank check company, if you haven't heard about SPACs. And I talk about that. I talk about how New York Times was the first digital media company. Oh, God. Because they're digital media. Was the first newspaper to do it, the first news whatever to do it. And all the other news things and how BuzzFeed can succeed and where it stands and all that stuff. So pretty good episode. Check it out. And Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at @cpluscomedy. Me on Twitter and Instagram at @ChadBlackWhite. Rate, review, subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcast. Share it with your friends. Please do. Don't just watch the Instagram cutout. If you made it this far, then you're not watching the Instagram cutouts. All right. Thank you. Goodbye.